This is a big honor to name our lab after somebody.
Nobody censors Dr. Cyril Wecht.
But what I've learned from him more than anything is you just look it right in the eye and you fight and you never give up.
Cyril's a very loyal guy.
And to this day, 16 years into public service, when I come into this room, I think of you.
Dr. Wecht has never forgotten where he's come from, and he has always put his family first.
Proclamation certificates 515809.
515809, proclamation honoring Dr. Cyril H. Wecht for his impressive career of service to Allegheny County, sponsored by Council members Fitzgerald, Martoni, DeFazio, Ellenbogen, Finnerty, Petoulas, Gasgab, Green, Macy, McCullough, Ray, and Cleary.
Okay, and please add, oh, you did add Miss Cleary. Okay, yeah, it was a misprint that she wasn't on here. Is Mr. Byrne on there? He's supposed to be on there too. Please add Mr. Byrne. He should have been on there as well. I'm sorry, Mr. Robinson? Please add Mr. Robinson. There must have been some oversights. I want to ask Dr. Wecht to come up, along with the Wecht family. This is a special night for all of us in this county. We're honoring somebody who probably needs no introduction, but I'm going to do it anyway. And Cyril, we're not going to put the 3-minute timer on you. I swear we're not going to do that to you. But when I decided to introduce this a couple of months ago, you never know how something like this is going to be received, because this is a big honor to name our lab after somebody. But I can tell you the outpouring and the support through all segments of this county were overwhelming. And that's a testimony to Dr. Wecht. And I invite all members of council to come up here with me, yes, if you all want to come up. This is something we're all doing. Dr. Wecht has certainly served this county with distinction and well for many, many years. And while I'm not going to read all of these other proclamations that have come in tonight, starting with Senator Casey, Congressman Doyle and Altmaier, Senator Costa, and I see Joe, a story here from Senator Costa's office, Pittsburgh City Council, all 9 members, President Shields, and all members of City Council, who were just glowing in their praise for Dr. Wecht. And again, you know, if I went through some of the achievements and the achievements of Dr. Wecht, we would certainly be here for a long time, but they're worth noting. And it's also worth noting when we have some young people here, that what somebody can do and what they can achieve and the legacy that they can leave behind. Dr. Wecht started not with a silver spoon in his mouth by any means. He grew up in the Hill District, in a poor community. And the reason I know that specifically is he grew up with my father-in-law, and I know the neighborhood that they grew up. And what Dr. Wecht has been able to achieve is really, it's overwhelming. He brings an awful lot of notoriety and fame and goodwill upon this county, because anytime something happens around this country, where does CNN turn, or where does CBS or Fox News or any of them turn? They turn to Dr. Wecht, and underneath it says Pittsburgh, Allegheny County. So our scientific reputation is enhanced every time he goes on the air, and he's been doing it for many, many years as a known expert. There's no dispute over the expertise of Dr. Wecht. And Dr. Wecht has worn many hats over the years, including serving a term that we do right now in this gold room as a county commissioner. Certainly we all know him as county coroner for many, many years, and the work he's done at Duquesne University and around this country. I'm going to invite maybe a few members, if they want to come up and say a few words regarding Dr. Wecht. And I'm going to read this into the record, and then, of course, we're going to have Dr. Wecht introduce his family and some of the members that are here tonight. Because I do know one thing. As proud of Dr. Wecht is of his accomplishments, and they are many, I think every time when I talk to Cyril, the thing he's proudest of is his family and his kids. And it comes across that he's proud to be a good father. He's proud to be a good grandfather to his children. And I certainly can count Dr. Wecht, Cyril, as a mentor. I certainly call on him a lot of times for advice, and his knowledge and expertise of this region, the political climate, government is extraordinary. And I know I owe a great a debt of gratitude to him for all the advice he's given to me. So let me read this proclamation. Whereas Dr. Cyril H. Wecht has served Allegheny County and our nation with the utmost dedication throughout his life, and he has been rightfully honored with countless distinctions and awards testifying to his great career of service. And whereas born on December 20th, 1931, in Dunkard Township, Pennsylvania. You're going to have to tell us where that is. I never heard of that. Dr. Wecht received his undergraduate and medical degrees from the University of Pittsburgh in 1952 and 1956, and his law degree from the University of Maryland School of Law in 1962. And whereas following the establishment of his private practice in 1962, Dr. Wecht served Allegheny County as deputy coroner in 1965 and subsequently was elected to the position of coroner, filling the role from 1970 to 1980 and again from 1996 to 2006. And whereas from 1980 to 1984, Dr. Wecht served as one of the 3 Allegheny County commissioners, governing the county and directing our community into the direction of a promising future, which we are experiencing today. And whereas as an intellectual who held prominent county positions, Dr. Wecht helped to revolutionize many aspects of our community, including modernizing the coroner's office, using his powers of inquest to upgrade investigative techniques, and updating the rules of private home care and nursing care. Whereas because of his national reputation and professional achievements, Dr. Wecht has brought an astounding amount of attention to our region. He, his wife, 4 children, and 11 grandchildren still reside in Allegheny County. We know how much of a rarity that is in this county, planting and spreading their success so our community may learn from their extraordinary lives. And whereas to enshrine Dr. Wecht's legacy, this council has passed a resolution stating that the Allegheny County Medical Examiner's primary laboratory shall henceforth be known as the Cyril H. Wecht Institute of Forensic Science. Now, therefore, be it resolved that Allegheny County Council, on behalf of the citizens of Allegheny County, hereby recognizes the impressive career of Dr. Cyril H. Wecht and commends his contributions to the community and to the government of Allegheny County. Because of Dr. Wecht's assistance, the county has progressed steadily into the future. We thank him for everything he has done for us throughout his career, and we wish him, his family, and the best of luck in all their future endeavors. Sponsored by all members of council this 20th day of October 2009. And I want to invite, again, other members of council to come up and maybe say a few words before we present this to Dr. Wecht and ask him to say a few words. Councilman Finnerty?
Thank you, Mr. President. It's just a great honor just to be standing here with such a great man that's done so much for Allegheny County and for the entire southwestern Pennsylvania. Such a scholar, so much knowledge. I spent a few days in his office. He would tell me how it really was, and he was really right. Thank you.
The first time I ever heard of Dr. Wecht, the first time I saw him, I was a senior at St. Clair High School in 1972, and Doctor, I don't know if you remember that, but we had a high school assembly, and the doctor addressed us. And I remember thinking to myself, I haven't heard anybody talk this fast since Casey Stengel. But I actually got to know Dr. Wecht when I became the county solicitor. And There was a letter that came in one day to the county from a lawyer in Atlanta, and I think you know the episode. And the bottom line was this lawyer represented somebody who took offense or took an issue with something that Dr. Wecht had to say, which the doctor had said in all candor. And they wanted Allegheny County to put a stop to it. And I can remember writing back, and I said, nobody censors Dr. Cyril Wecht. Many people have tried, and many people have tried within this region. Many powerful people have tried for close to four different decades. They have all failed. And they have failed because Dr. Wecht is one of the most courageous and strong human beings I've ever met. Some of you know the issues that I'm dealing with personally. Dr. Wecht has been a tremendous source of strength and inspiration to me. He is a hero of mine. And my dad used to say, his measure of a man is somebody that you would want to be in an alley with when things were tough. And he said, if you can find 5 people like that in your lifetime, you'll be very lucky. Well, I don't know that I've met 5, but I know that I've met one, and that one is Dr. Wecht.
Councilman Ellenbogen?
I'm very honored here this evening to be here with Dr. Wecht. I first met Dr. Wecht when I was a freshman at the University of Pittsburgh. He was a guest lecturer in the late Dr. Wendt's rhetoric class. As a young man, I followed his political career, and I didn't get in my council seat very easily, as a lot of people tell you. And I learned a lot from Dr. Wecht in terms of courage, in terms of dignity, in terms of being able, if you get knocked down, you get up, and if you get knocked down, you get up again. And many people will sit and talk about all Dr. Wecht's intellectual achievement and his medical achievement, which are wonderful. But what I've learned from him more than anything is you just look it right in the eye, and you fight, and you never give up. And what the young people and anyone can learn from this gentleman is the dignity and how to carry yourself as a man, and to stand and look anything in the face and carry yourself with dignity. And he has taught me that, and I'm sure many others. Thank you. It's my honor.
Councilman Robinson?
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm probably one of the few people in this room who has actually driven, what's the word am I looking for? Been in a car with Cyril Wecht. Just thinking about it threw me off. Coming down Fifth Avenue from a meeting at the University of Pittsburgh, and I'm in this big Oldsmobile with Cyril Wecht. And I said, wow, I'm riding with Cyril Wecht. An opportunity to be intellectually stimulated, to learn many things. Boy, I'm glad to be with Cyril Wecht. He was going so fast and talking so fast, I've never been so scared in all my life. I rode the Thunderbolt at Kennywood Park once. That was nothing compared to riding with Cyril. One time. But what I admire most about Cyril is his loyalty. Cyril's a graduate from Fifth Avenue High School in our city. The first high school to be built in this city many years ago. And Cyril always comes to alumni events. Always. And I think that's great. I think that's great for several reasons, but Cyril's a very loyal guy. And those of you who have had the opportunity to work with him, to know him personally, and yes, even to ride in a car with him, he's loyal. And I thank you, Cyril, for being so loyal, and I know your family appreciates the loyalty. Stay with that. Stay loyal.
Councilman Byrne?
Thank you, Mr. President. A couple of my colleagues have reflected on when they first heard the name Cyril Wecht. Let me please start there. I was a freshman at North Catholic High School. We had a world geography teacher named Mr. George Spries. And in our first 2 weeks of class, and the class would sometimes get a little rowdy, George Spries would look at us and say, if you keep it up, you're going to be looking up at Dr. Cyril Wecht. I didn't know what that meant. I went home and asked my dad. I said, Dad, this teacher is telling me that if we keep it up, we're going to be looking up at Cyril Wecht. He explained to me what Cyril Wecht's job was with the county. I explained to my friends in the world geography class what Dr. Wecht's job was, and we all behaved after that. With Dr. Wecht, from that time, I began to follow your career. I watched you on television as a freshman, and I watched you as I began my political career. And when I first was elected mayor of Millvale in 1994, one of the first individuals that I reached out to for advice and counsel, because I could not believe that I was into politics and that I could pick up the phone and ask, and yet equally or more amazed that he would return the call, and that was you, Dr. Cyril Wecht. And the advice you gave me in that first 4 years, which for all intents and purposes was truly, for a 30-year-old, a political baptism of fire, your advice was invaluable. Your friendship was invaluable. And I never shared this with you, Doctor, but I found out after the fact, when Commissioner Forster had ran for the seat and passed away, how hard you had lobbied behind the scenes for me for that appointment. And you never told me that you had done that. And I was so flattered and humbled that you had thought enough of me without my solicitation to ask the members of the county council to consider me for that vacancy. And you've continued to be my friend. You've continued to be my mentor. And to this day, 16 years into public service, when I come into this room, I think of you, that you held court here once. And it's awe-inspiring to me to be in that same room. And equally as awe-inspiring, Doctor, is when I go into the Democratic Party headquarters as chairman, and I look up on that wall, and I see your picture. And to this day, I still can't believe that I am honored and humbled to hold the same title that you held those years ago. And you were still there for advice, you were there for friendship and counsel, and it is invaluable to me. Dr. Wecht, thank you so much for your friendship and your leadership. Congratulations.
Councilman DeFazio.
I don't want to repeat, but I agree with I do agree with everything except maybe the car ride. I can't answer to that one. But what Rich and everyone said about Dr. Wecht, I feel the same way, and it's true. But when I started in a mill, working in a mill right out of high school, I didn't know anything about political people at all, and they're telling me this and that. They told me, you got to vote for a guy named Cyril Wecht. I never heard of him. And they said, yeah, he's a good guy. He's for the working people. This is a good guy. He's not like the rest of them. And I mean, after time went by, I started seeing everything. I said, he is a good guy. I mean, it's true. But the one question before I leave here, I got to find out. Everyone used to always tell me, hey, look, that movie that there was on TV, Quincy. They said, that's Cyril Wecht. He was an attorney and a pathologist. Was that you? Is that they copy you? So okay. So we got another Quincy here. Thank you.
Okay, without further ado, we're going to bring up Dr. Wecht. And Dr. Wecht, you've heard it from my colleagues. I'm sorry. Congratulations.
President Fitzgerald, distinguished members of County Council, I first want to start by expressing my deep appreciation and truly humble gratitude to all of you for having voted to bestow this great honor upon me. I am deeply appreciative. It means so much, and I reflect upon the fact many times that no matter how old you become, you should never reach a point at which life is so jaded that an honor like this does not have great meaning for you. It does. So I want to thank you, and for all the time that you have spent here. It's already considerable more time than I spent sitting up there on proclamations that we would bestow. Commissioner Forster really loved that, and Bill Hunt did too. But it was always a nice thing to do, and I'm glad you folks continue with that practice. My lovely wife is here, and my two sons, Judge David Wecht and Ben Wecht, my two other, oh, come up here. Come on. And my
We're trying
daughter,
to get you in the picture anyway, so you got to.
and my daughter, Dr. Ingrid Wecht, made it, and her husband, Harold. My daughter is an obstetrician gynecologist. There are about 4 people waiting to deliver babies out there, but she'll make it back. And my other son, Dr. Daniel Wecht, a neurosurgeon at UPMC, could not be here. After all, somebody has to work to support the rest of the family, right? Ben is program director of the Institute of Forensic Science in Law at Duquesne University, which we started, and David is now the administrative judge in the Orphans Division. We're very proud of them. Ingrid, an OB-GYN at West Penn, and Daniel, neurosurgery at UPMC, and its numerous octopus-like tentacles wherever they may be. I want to acknowledge the presence of my Rabbi Birkin, a rabbi with a capital R and a rabbi with a small r, as it is referred to, and his wife Flora. To my old colleagues from the Allegheny County Coroner's Office who are here, Dr. Leon Rosen and his wife Susanna, Tim Urich, my solicitor, Joe Mancuso, started off there as a deputy coroner and has been with me now for almost 40 years as my chief autopsy associate, and I am grateful to them. Others could not be here because some of them have moved away and others are working and out of town for other reasons. I simply want to say that it's a great honor. Oh, I forgot to mention that we have 2 distinguished guests, one of whom has come all the way from Norway, and her sister, Dr. Christina Voigt, who has recently been elected as president of the International Pediatric Association of Europe, Africa, and Asia, who has done some of her magnificent research work here at McGee Women's Hospital. And I a little disappointed in Christina. I thought she'd be able to swing the Nobel Committee as a Norwegian woman, but I'll give her another shot sometime in the future. And her sister, Ms. Karen Gordon from Pittsburgh in New Jersey. I hope I haven't. And Harold, my son-in-law Harold, Ingrid's husband, Harold Balk, who's an attorney here in Pittsburgh. Pardon me? Yeah, yes, of course. And many good friends. And there are 2 people, all good friends, and 2 people that I need to publicly acknowledge and express much gratitude to my 2 excellent attorneys, Jerry McDevitt and Mark Rush, who are here, 2 outstanding attorneys, and I got to take this opportunity to tell you that if you ever have an 84-count indictment brought against you by the U.S. Attorney, that's who you want to use. If it's if it's less than 50, you can go for somebody cheaper. They did get me confused sometimes in the building department with some of their other clients like Halliburton and the Worldwide Entertainment Association and so on, but they did the job. My lovely wife is here. She's an attorney, and she's now the executive boss of the office, and I owe her a great deal of gratitude in many ways. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to let Rich and all the other distinguished members of County Council in on the secret that all of this was orchestrated and engineered to be something that is a very special, big surprise for my wife, not to mention that it's saving me money and having to have bought something else because tomorrow is our anniversary. So this was a special occasion for her. Well, I don't know what to say. I've been a lifelong resident. I don't know where they got this Dunkard Township. I'll tell you where it is, Dunkard Township, and I guess it's true. I don't know. Actually, I was born at West Penn Hospital, but my mother and father, both of whom were immigrants, had their first mom-and-pop grocery store in Bobtown. Bobtown is a coal mining community in Greene County. It's about 20 miles from the West Virginia border. And had I stayed there, I'd be a big shot. I'd be mayor of Bogtown. I'd be Commissioner Dunkard Township. I tell Coroner Greg Rohanna, who's a friend, someone I've been working, doing cases with for now 30-some years, I told Greg I'd be coroner of Greene County, Greg, rather than you. But we made it eventually through McKees Rocks for 7 years and into the Lower Hill. And it was an experience, Bill. Growing up there, it was a wonderful time, and I wish there were time to reminisce about how marvelous in many respects it was and what a different world it was, being there and having the opportunity to spend that time with people of so many different ethnic and racial backgrounds, majority of whom were just first, maybe sometimes second generation Americans. It was a great experience. I'm very proud of the fact that my 4 children, their spouses, and the 11 grandchildren live here in Allegheny County, and each of them and their spouses have made a contribution to this community, not only by living here, but by being productive citizens in significant areas and contributing in the world of academia, law, medicine, and in other ways. I thank all of you for coming, and I shall always consider this to be a
Part of the celebration.
That was orchestrated. That was orchestrated from down the street, wasn't it? There are just far too many people to get into once you start the game of recognition. But I hope that I have not forgotten people who have been so dear and near and who have helped a great deal. And I thank all the members of council for their unanimous and enthusiastic support and acclamation for this presentation. I hope that I still have many years left. I'm functioning in a full-time fashion. Nothing pleases me more than to respond to people in our community. I was especially delighted when some of the council members reminisced about some presentations that I made at their schools just 2 hours ago, and it happens not every day, but at least a few times a week. I'll get requests, and one just 2 hours ago from a student at Brashear High School who wants to come in and meet with me and talk and interview me as part of her project. And this means a great deal to encourage people. I am proud of what we accomplished in the field of medical legal investigation, the people that we have brought here from around the world to participate in our programs, and to continue now with the national programs that we are presenting at Duquesne University, one of which will be Friday and Saturday of this week on forensic aspects of digital evidence. So I hope to continue with these contributions to our community and to surrounding communities in southwestern Pennsylvania. I want to thank Joe and Matt and the other members of the staff for their courtesy and assistance in developing this presentation and everything that they did to promulgate it. I thank you. I'm sorry to have taken so much of your time. I appreciate your coming here. I shall give careful consideration and in a very soft, lighthearted moment, perhaps somewhat antithetical to what many people believe about me. I'm even probably going to forego the defamatory remarks made by Councilman Robinson. You know, you got to bend sometimes with the tide. But thank you all, folks, and I wish everybody well. Have a great Halloween, Thanksgiving, and a magnificent Rosh Hashanah, Christmas, and New Year's. And I hope to see all of you around for many years to come. Thank you.
Before we take the picture, I jumped ahead. Joe Story from Senator Costa's office has something from the state Senate to convey as well. Joe, if you could come up and convey Senator Costa's words.
Thank you. This is actually on behalf of Senator Costa, Senator Jim Furlow, Senator Sean Logan, Senator Wayne Fontana, and also Senator Jane Claire Orey. I'll save everyone the time by not going through the proclamation. but I would like to say a few words on a personal note on behalf of myself and the senators as well. I've had the distinct privilege of knowing Dr. Wecht for several years as first of all, a student at Duquesne Law School, which was a great experience, professionally in his tenure as coroner and medical examiner, and most importantly, as a friend. As many individuals up here have stated, he is a true friend. He's the essence of the word itself. When times are tough, you can depend on Dr. Wecht to be there. But to be quite honest with you, through all the accolades and national notoriety that he has brought to Western Pennsylvania and the attention he has given us, which we are so thankful for, the one thing that stands out in my mind is that Dr. Wecht has never forgotten where he has come from. And he has always, always put his family first. And I wrote down a few words I'd like to share with you, Dr. Wecht, that sort of sums it up. We live in a world today where the measure of a man is more often than not what kind of car he drives, how much money he makes, whether or not he has the biggest house on the block. The true measure of a man, however, lies not in his wallet, but in his heart and in his daily work ethic. Does he provide for his family? Does he help when called? Does he offer to help when others simply won't? No amount of money, material possessions, or level of success can make a man a good and decent human being. Achieving that goal is completely up to the individual, and it is arguably the most difficult goal to reach, but the most rewarding when it is in fact attained. Dr. Wecht, you exemplify all this and much, much more. A good husband, a good father, a good grandfather, and a great friend. Congratulations to you and God bless you.